they go to banners.
Yeah, it's funny because
Scroll down.
the Phillies are the one team that I've always been just a huge fan of. And even as, because I work for the team, so I'm covering the team on the outside of it, I can still kind of be a fan. So that has never changed for me. But the other teams, when I started covering the Flyers and started covering the Sixers and the Eagles, my fandom went away pretty quickly. And it was a joke.
We're going to get a text from Whitney whenever he goes on stream. How do I get it back to the green?
Yeah.
Morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's what happens.
How are we this fine morning?
How are you?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, but other than that, it's exactly.
See, I still I don't know. There's certain things like during the week with Phillies, and
But you're not in the locker room.
Exactly.
You're not stressing out about a guy
understand.
getting sand,
you know,
sound or whatever.
Like I hate it. Like I hate it regardless. Like whether we're covering it, we're talking about it or not. But like when they have a bad week, and I know we got to talk about it on Sunday, I don't enjoy that.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't make even though they're 4-3 in their last 7. Okay, I'm still upset the fact that they lost the series in Pittsburgh, that they blew Wednesday night's game, and that they lost on Friday night and have a potential to lose the series against the Royals. That upsets me.
I know. They should be they shouldn't lose from here on out. They should win every game.
I understand you're going to lose.
Even
it's
to
baseball.
Right.
I get it. But this stretch of the season, we should not be duking it out with these crappy teams. It's time to get going.
They won 7 in a row until last night. They're the hottest team in baseball.
I get that, but they're trash.
Trash.
Now there's only 2 teams in Major League Baseball that have not won four in a row. There's only 2. The Royals were one of them ahead of this win streak. They didn't even win more than 2 in a row up until this 7-game win streak.
Yeah, who's the other one?
The Padres.
No, Oakland did.
Oakland won 7 in a row before they faced us 2.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And so it's the Padres and the Nationals. The only 2 teams in Major League Baseball that have not won 4 in a row.
That's insane.
And the Padres are I think they're a game. They might have just went 500 last night. And
they're playing better.
And their run differential is 50 runs more than the Phillies.
I know.
It's crazy.
Run differential is meaningless.
55, 56.
You coming in here, buddy?
I tried, and it didn't work. But I'm trying.
Is it just people kind of they gotta look at me for an hour?
I'll try again.
Good thing
Are
I
you
shaved.
connected to the internet, Bert?
No, that's why.
I'm gonna look as bad this week.
Can you add a thing?
I still look awful.
So if you connect to Philly, what's it?
In Cleveland, and he's a great announcer. Yeah, that was awesome.
And if I'm being honest here, it could not have happened to a better guy. Because I can't stand him.
I don't have a strong opinion on him one way or the other, but it was awesome.
He got it. It was awesome. He was wobbly as hell too. Oh. And then he came back on the field. And probably the underrated part of that was when Eloy Mendez got hurt
during the fight.
Yeah, he came up lame and was like, "Yes."
I saw that. You guys both have your laptops on mute.
Yeah, mine's down.
Or just
mute?
down. Not down.
Yeah, the volume. Don't mute yourself. You just want the volume down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way we don't get. There you go.
10 seconds.
Summer Sundays are meant for freshly cut bread, small cartons, and the best mixed smoked talk you can find. So kick back with your plate connects and party some mimosa. While Phillies announcer Greg Murphy and Louis Radios press sack, right down your fighting fields and take you around the league. Right now on Baseball Brunch. Play on.
Good morning, Philadelphia. Yeah, welcome in the Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, powered by Green Legion Radio 102.5, Fox Sports and Gambler in Philadelphia, WDAS AM around the rest of the Delaware Valley, or simply download that iHeartRadio app where you can listen to us anywhere, crystal clear, worldwide. I'm Chris Sack of Green Legion Radio, as we broadcast to you live here at Xfinity Live in South Philadelphia, right outside of Citizens Bank Park, as we lead you in to Phillies Royals this afternoon. And there's nobody better to do it with than the host of the pre- and post-game for your Philadelphia Phillies, Phillies broadcaster Greg Murphy. Murph, how we feeling this morning?
Feeling well, to be honest.
Tired, I know, but I got to ask the question.
A little tired, but all good, and good win last night. Just tons of energy at the ballpark last night. It was really fun, really cool. We should have another sellout crowd here today on this Sunday afternoon. Phillies looking to win this series. So, all in all, things are good. Things are rolling. You'd like this team to get on that roll that we've talked about, winning, 7 of 8, 8 of 10 kind of thing. And I think it's going to happen. I really do. You finish up today with Kansas City, and hopefully when the Nats come to town, who are playing better baseball.
They are, yeah.
But hopefully you can do some damage against the Nationals before the Twins come in here. So, the energy here in South Philadelphia, 10-game homestand, can only do good things for this team, and I think we saw that last night.
Absolutely, and the lineup is out today, and there is a change in the lineup for today. Trey Turner is no longer batting 8th in the lineup as he can move up to the 6th spot. JT Realmuto getting a day off today, and we'll talk more about Brandon Marsh coming up. Johan Rojas is batting 9th in the lineup as well. This first segment is brought to you by our good friends over at State Farm. When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect furniture and choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night TV series binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why State Farm agent Dave Busso is here to help you select the right protection at the right price. Dave will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With State Farm agent Dave Busso, it's easy to make the right choice. Just call him when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You can reach Dave today at 856-740-5012. It's 856-740-5012. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements. Before we get into a ticket giveaway, as I was, we were talking about earlier, and we're going to talk about in the second segment because I crossed active ballpark number 21 off the list on Friday night. So we'll talk about where and when, and it's number 24 overall. But I got to do the experience with my dad and my best friend Chad. And this past week, we had the unfortunate events of losing Chad's father this past Monday. He's been like a second dad to me my whole entire life. 26 years of being Chad's best friend. Love their family to death. They're the greatest that there is. I'm thinking about my mom, Claire, Brendan, Aaron, Chad today, and the rest of the family, my nephews, Jude and Charlie. Love you guys to death. I'm thinking about you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at the funeral. All the best and all the well wishes to you guys and the whole family. Ticket giveaway. Bringing it back this week here. We skipped it last week. I guess I was a little bit too much of a curmudgeon about how the Phillies were playing at the time, particularly in Pittsburgh on Saturday night. But hey, we are giving people here on Green Legion Radio and Bud Light Baseball Brunch. So I'm going to give away a pair of tickets today for Phillies Marlins on Friday, September 8th at 7:05. And we dive down something that we really haven't done before. Yeah. I think this is more so. It might be on your list, but I was watching a movie the other night, and I'll tell you what movie that is. As long as I'm not sure if it is one of your top 5. It might be. It's not. I was watching Goodfellas the other night. Okay. It was on TV, so you don't get the full experience of watching it like you would watching the movie. But it was on the TV, and I was watching. I was like, you know what? I was like, this is based off of a true life story. So your favorite movie based off of? Well, hey man, apparently that's what they're saying that it was around that guy's life. Okay. So true life story. All right. So you give me one of your top 5, and we'll get the rest of them at the top of the final segment.
Yeah, kind of a cool topic. This one really, I had to kind of dig deep and really start to think.
That's what I try to aim for here. Yeah, the hard-hitting questions.
You try to make me work real hard on a Sunday morning. But it was cool to kind of dive back into my memory, trying to think of movies based on a true story that I thought. So I kind of went with great movies based on a true story, not necessarily the ones I love the most, although I do like all 5 of the ones. So all right, I'll give you one. I think this one deserves to be on the list. If you haven't seen it, go see it. The movie Lincoln, obviously based on the life Abraham Lincoln. Amazing acting in the movie. A terrific story. We think we know the story of Abraham Lincoln, right? What you learn at school, that kind of thing. You learn so much in these kinds of movies about our history, and I'm a big U.S. history guy to begin with. So I thought that was an awesome movie, and one of those movies that we should all watch at some point. So Lincoln on my list.
I'll tell you what, I enjoy Apollo 13.
Great one.
Great movie. Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, great movie. I enjoyed every single time it's on. It's funny because this will be another one here. But obviously it's not based entirely off the true story. But Titanic. My dad always says, "Well, I don't need to see it. I know how the movie ends."
That's what I said. I've never seen it.
But I said to him, and my dad would break his balls all the time about being a Tom Hanks guy. But Apollo 13, you know how that one ends. They live. So if you're gonna watch one, you can't sit there and repeat.
No, I can't. I have no interest in seeing that. None whatsoever.
All right, well, we've taken a few of them already. So go to the message board on all of our social media platforms. In order to win, you must answer in the comment section on the Green Legion Radio YouTube channel, the Green Legion Facebook page, or our Twitter handle @Green Legion. Our collective favorite answer will win our final segment. All right, Murph, out of the box time here as the Phillies had a 4-3 week after falling last Sunday in Pittsburgh, blowing Wednesday night's game in Miami a few different times, not just once, not just twice, but a few different times, and then losing Friday night's opener against the Royals. Lucky for them, the other teams in the wild card race have really faltered over the last week. We were looking at the wild card standings yesterday, and it was like everybody behind us had an L. The only team that won the other night was the Giants. So we're one game behind the Giants, and we hold a 2-game lead for the second wild card spot over the Cincinnati Reds right now. And if you want to take into account, we are a half game up on the Milwaukee Brewers, who are leading the National League Central. So if they wind up getting tied in or intervene in the wild card race, they're right there.
Yeah, and so what I would say about all of that is the Phillies had a decent week. They actually obviously played well down in Miami, which was important.
They handled their own there. They won 3 or 4.
That was
huge.
important. I mean, if you're going to win a series and lose a series on that trip, they did it the right way. And they win 3 out of 4 in Miami, despite losing 2 of 3 in Pittsburgh. But
which is always a house of horrors for us. It's insane.
We had won 8 straight there or something.
No, I'm talking about historic
Miami.
PNC Park. Historically, the Phillies have been terrible at PNC Park.
That's where I did my first big league game.
That's right. Roy Halladay opening up against AJ Burnett.
That's right.
Opening day.
That's right.
2012.
Yeah. They lost that game.
No, they won 1-0.
We did win that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they probably won. They probably lost the next 2.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember just being there and knowing it was my first one.
Look there, Murph.
That's right. Well, that happened.
I know.
What I wanted to say though was, you mentioned the other teams in baseball, and I think, and this is true for fans right across Major League Baseball. It's probably true for fans in the NHL and the NBA and the NFL as well. I think you lose sight when you're watching your particular team. You're watching your team. You're invested. You're watching 125 and 162 games, and that's all you see. What you don't see is the other teams, and that they also have struggles, and they also go through losing streaks, and they also lose games that they should have won, and they lose to teams that you believe they should beat, and that's the nature of baseball. And I think it's important as we go towards the postseason that you remember that the Cincinnati Reds have warts, the Milwaukee Brewers have warts, the Giants, all these teams that are fighting for a postseason spot. The only one you can really say this season is the Braves
In the National
League. Yeah, the Braves are the one team that seem just heads and tails better than everybody else.
It's F1.
Right. And again, we know what can happen in the postseason, but right now the Braves are just really good, and everybody else is just what you expect out of a baseball team, and that is the good teams winning 60% of their games. That means they're going to lose 40% of their games when it's all said and done. And I think that's where we're at. I think it's important every once in a while to reset and kind of keep focus on that, because I don't know if we're The Phillies have the third best winning percentage in the National League now, or fourth, but they've been bouncing back and forth between the two. But you think about
I
that.
think they're the fourth because the Dodgers, the Giants are ahead of them, then they're the Braves.
Right.
So they're the fourth in the National League.
And Milwaukee's a half game, right?
They're behind us. They're a half game below us.
Okay, so
yeah,
so
the Phillies
that
are
makes
half game up.
So that makes them the third. Right? Oh no, it still makes them the fourth. Yeah. So anyway, but they had been bouncing. But the point is, here you are, and you think, the world's falling in, the sky's falling, they're losing 2 to Pittsburgh, they lose the first game to Kansas City, they blew a game in Miami, and here you are as the third or fourth best team in the National League out of 15, right? And then when you put it in perspective like that, it's like, okay, it's a long season. It's 162 games. I see every pitch. I see them all. And when you do that, I think you're able to kind of keep perspective a little bit. Because there are going to be games like Friday night, and there are going to be games like the game in Miami that they blew 3 saves in. And you just have to accept it and move on. I said it on the postgame. It stunk. That was hard to watch.
Yes.
And that was a loss that we're going to remember for a long time. But I had said the night before, wow,
That was a win that we're going to remember.
We're going to remember for a long time. So that's the way it works, and it happens for every team. So perspective. That's it.
Perspective. And taking into perspective is Trey Turner's season. It's been a rough 4 months, a rough go of it in a Phillies uniform, Phillies pinstripes. We know what's in there. We saw it back in March in the WPC.
Wasn't that long
and we've seen it historically. It's not like the guy just completely forgot how to play baseball. Wednesday night was probably the rougher on him. Now, obviously, the Roger Dorn Olay that he had on Josh Bell's game time single in the 11th inning. But for me, it was the at-bat that he had in the top of the 11th, where he had Bryce Harper on third and Bryson Stott in second. Just a rough thing. And he came out, he took ownership of it. Hey, this game is on me. And last night, maybe this is the turnaround that we're looking for out of Trey Turner, because 6'5", runners on, and Scott Franzke had the call, and I'm thinking, maybe he said something about how the infield corners were in, and maybe Trey Turner's looking to bunt in first pitch, and he blasts it out of the ballpark, and then he gets an insurance run in the later innings, in the 8th inning, and gives us a 3-run lead. Your perspective on Trey Turner, the struggles, and what you've seen from him over the course of this homestand so far with these first 2 games.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I understood why Trey is having the season he's having.
You'd be making a lot more money if you were doing that. You could be the team psychiatrist instead of but it'd be good for you if you knew exactly what was going on, because
then I could tell Trey, and then we'd get best buds, and that'd be great. No, it's an odd situation because we know what a good player he is.
Yes.
We had him on the postgame show last night, and we talked to him, and he was, he's been, as you said, taking ownership, obviously, getting up in front of the cameras when things are going poorly, he's there. When things are going well, he's there. We had him on last night, and he said, this is something that he's never experienced at any level in baseball. And that is this sustained 3-month struggle to do his job at the highest level, which is what he's accustomed to. And he said, I'm a guy that is not afraid to make adjustments from game to game. I go into the cage, and if I feel like something's not, and it's always allowed my slumps to be short, and I'm able to break out of it. He said, for whatever reason this year, everything I try, he said, if I do something right, it ends up wrong. If I do something wrong, it ends up wrong. And he said, I feel like I'm just getting punched in the mouth. And
that's very candid.
Yeah.
Very open and honest.
And it's so refreshing. Yeah, we heard Nick Castellanos last week kind of bare his soul as well.
Yeah.
And it's really refreshing to hear these players, because they're not hiding in a corner and pretending everything's okay. They are working their butts off to try and get it back. So last night was awesome. Whether you love the standing O or you hate it or whatever, it doesn't matter.
I didn't hate it. I was just annoyed by it.
That's fine.
To me, if it happened organically and naturally, there's a different story to it. When it's being contrived and it's being discussed about for 2 days going into the game, that right there, it's more genuine when it happens for the sake of happening. The yesterday with him getting the curtain call, that's natural, and he earned that standing ovation. I'm not sitting here trying to take away from what the fans did. Listen, we're the fans, and we have every right to do whatever we want to do. And I'm not saying that you have to boo the crap out of him every single time he comes up and just continue to bury him in the slump that he's in. But moments like yesterday when he hit that 3-run shot, that was earned. That right there was his moment so far in a Phillies uniform.
Well, I would agree about the second part. But again, it doesn't much matter whether you thought it was great or not. But I guess is my point. It happened. The only way something like that happens is if it's talked about and confronted. It's the only way that happens because you're talking about trying to get 40,000 people on the same page. 35,000 people will show up if it wasn't talked about on social media and on all the different news outlets.
I just felt like we were like that old guy in American Pie 2, where he's up on the stage with the trumpet and he's like, come on guys, let's support Petey. Like that's kind of the way I felt.
My favorite part of that.
Come on guys, let's show the little guys some support. Like that's kind of where I was at. To each their own.
Look, again.
I know you're in the clubhouse every day. You're around the team. You're on the charter flights. Like, your opinion's different than mine is from an outsider standpoint.
I just, if you don't like it, fine. Yeah. If you do like it, fine. Did it help? I have no idea. We'll never really know if it helped. But at the end of the day,
he appreciated it.
He did appreciate it. And I guess at some level, if a player kind of looks around and things are going poorly, and he feels as though a city has his back, that can't be a bad thing. I can't envision a scenario where that's a negative. So, look, at the end of the day, he needs to keep playing better. He needs to continue this.
Absolutely.
And hopefully he does. And then maybe we'll look better. And talk about, remember the time that Philadelphia fixed Trey Turner by giving him a standing ovation? Maybe that becomes a thing.
Does Aaron Nola deserve one before his start on Thursday?
See, and I know that's where everybody's starting to, now we got to do it for Aaron. Now we got to do it for Kyle. And I don't think that's necessary, and I don't think we should. And, but that's my opinion. Fans want to do that? Go for it. Guys are going to struggle. And it's, if you want to boo them, okay. I don't know what that does either. Makes you feel better, I guess. But I don't know that it does anything. It doesn't hurt anybody. I would disagree with that. I think it probably hurts a lot of people.
I love good hearted boo.
Yeah. I can honestly say I don't think I've ever booed anyone in my life. And that's the truth.
You know who doesn't deserve to get booed? Michael Lorenzen. Fantastic first start as a Philly. Yes, absolutely. Trade deadline, because I could have went in and ripped Aaron Nola while we're at it. But hey, let's get to something fun here in the first segment. Trade deadline acquisition, big one, was Michael Lorenzen. And I was thinking about this during the course of it on Thursday afternoon while it was happening. It was Cliff Lee-esque from 2009. Just the way he went out there and dominated, and it was so needed. 8 innings pitched. I think it was the first time he's pitched 8 innings this season. And they needed every bit of it because there was only 2 guys that didn't pitch the night before, Junior Marte and Sir Anthony Dominguez. Dominguez came in and got the save. Fantastic job by Michael Lorenzen in his first start in the Phillies uniform. I was about to say Phillies pinstripes, but actually it was the red with the gray pants.
Yeah, it was.
Great job.
I mean, from a baseball standpoint, it was about as an important moment this week that we had, right? I mean, to your point, what you just said, they needed their starting pitcher that day to go deep into a game because if they did, they were in trouble. There wasn't a whole lot of options. And Michael Lorenzen comes in, and I said to him, you only get one chance to make a first impression. Nice job, because that was a pretty darn good one. What a neat guy to talk to. Loves the game of baseball. Is so excited to be here and on a contender, and excited. He wants to be a starter. They're going to have to figure out, does Christopher Sanchez slide back with the bullpen? Because they're not going to stay with this 6-man rotation.
No, it's just through the 14th. They don't have a day off until the 14th.
Yeah, and then they have 2 days off in a matter of 4 days, and that makes it difficult to stick with 6.
Yeah.
At that point. So my bet is there's some kind of piggyback situation with Christopher Sanchez sliding in behind one of the guys. More than likely Lorenzen, but who knows?
Ranger Suarez?
Well,
potentially.
You got
2 lefties.
2 lefties there. I don't think they would go that route. Maybe it's Aaron. If he continues to struggle a bit. There's a lot that they can do. But I think that's probably where we're headed because I think they want to keep Lorenzen in that starting rotation for a couple of different reasons. But if he pitches like that, I mean, hey, you can't take him out, right? I mean, he's going to be one of your horses if he continues. And he's going to have games where he doesn't pitch like that. Let's be real.
Everybody has their off days.
Exactly.
Hey, don't hang out alone in the man cave for baseball this season. Try hanging out at Cheerleaders with sexy entertainers, $4 domestic beers, Jameson specials, and awesome game day experiences all season long. That's right. Stop in before, during, or after the game, not only to see your favorite entertainers, but also your chance to have the best game day experience. Epic game day experiences at Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, where champions play. Cheerleaders is open daily from noon until 2 a.m. Found out the other day that my mom was listening to me do that read last week, and she's like, I was like, hey, whatever pays the bills. Right here on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler, Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club. On the other side, we're going to dive into the daycare because Alec Boehm and Bryson Stott have had phenomenal seasons, and we're going to dive into Cole Hamels, who recently retired the other day. Again, 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. We'll be right back after this. I'm thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thought about it like early on in the program.
Thank you.
Did you got it?
How many more shows do we have?
Well, Sunday shows probably another 5 after this. And then we're going to have to try and figure out what they're going to do with us once the Eagles season starts. Me and Slash will still be working on Sunday mornings because we'll be doing the pregame shows.
Yeah. How is Quimby doing?
I have no clue. Actually, so I think he said that he's coming up on Saturday nights.
Yeah, Florida.
Yeah. Actually, he's in Guatemala right now. He's like doing like marlin fishing.
Where is he?
Yeah.
So he's going to come up on the weekend?
He's going to come up. I think he's going to stay at Sam's house. And then, but he did say, he's like, there might be a time where something happens with my flight where I don't come up. He's like, and you're hosting. I was like, all right, cool.
Jesus Christ. The way that man travels.
Can we get that lucky to where he misses? Hold on, is he watching?
Hey, he I don't know. Life of Riley. Travel in the world like he does?
Yeah. Envious.
Getting them as they're coming up on
What's that?
the status. Getting them as they come up.
Yeah, I've been looking at the Facebook, yeah. And I just have a couple from the YouTube channel. From the regulars.
No, always the regulars.
What 30?
30? I'm down to 5%. Come on. Hi, everybody.
Come on, we can do it.
Well, he went from 10 to 5 in the first block, so it's going to go from 5 to 0 in the second.
He got there halfway through.
If you want to listen to Murph's side of things, go over to the iHeartRadio app.
That's right. Wait, they can't
Yeah,
hear me.
because it's not tied into it's not tied into, like, if the board was tied into, like, one of our laptops, they would get it. Yeah, let's be honest. Nobody wants the Chris Sack show. So if you're going to be on stream,
Go to the
yeah,
iHeart app.
you go to the iHeart app. You can listen to us.
I mean, I can plug it back in, but
Just stare at my face. Yeah, we're fine. Dude, I always liked Mike Kern's, like, accent.
Yeah.
Man.
greatest.
Do it. No, dude. Come on, man.
Awesome
Yeah.
dude, too. Yeah, that Schwartz game on that first.
I was ready to carry. I was ready to carry the baton. And Jansen, mostly everybody is right more than me. No. I think we had to touch on it. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it's over. It's not over.
Welcome back. Second segment here. Sunday morning in the Delaware Valley. It is beautiful out here as we prepare. It is.
It's August, right?
It is.
But I feel like it.
But it's great not to sweat by just sitting there.
It is. I mean, it's going to be a perfect day for baseball.
Yeah, I'll take comfortability over anything.
What's the word? Comfortability?
Is it?
It is now.
It's poetic license.
That's right.
We're on the air.
You have a microphone, you can say what you want.
Well, not everything, but hey.
Well, that's right.
Hey, Premier Window Cleaning is the leading window cleaning company in Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. Family owned and operated with 30 years experience. They offer commercial, residential, window cleaning, pressure washing, parking garage cleaning, graffiti removal, post-construction cleaning. Every employee is trained, certified, and goes through an extensive background check. With Premier Window Cleaning, your satisfaction level needs to be 100%, as no job is complete until you're happy. With clients like Chop Roberts to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, you cannot go wrong. For more information and a full list of services, give them a call, 267-534-5198. That's 267-534-5198. Head to their website, wehatedirtywindows.com. wehatedirtywindows.com. All right, Murph. So let's continue talking a little bit about the Phillies here before we dive into other things around the league, especially some fun things, particularly last night's brawl in Cleveland, which I enjoyed. It was fantastic. What else could be said about the two of the members of the Phillies daycare so far this season? Because where would this team be without their contributions? Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm, they're now 4th and 5th in the National League in batting average, respectively. Stott's 124 hits are good for 8th in the National League, and Alec Bohm leads the Phillies in RBI. Who would have had that prop bet at the beginning of the season? Fantastic job by both of these kids and their continued development as they become full-blown, full-time Major League Baseball players. And Alec Bohm's defense, Bryson Stott might be up to the Gold Glove at second, and Alec Bohm playing both sides of the diamond after last year's fiasco in the first couple weeks of the season.
Awesome stuff. And it just goes to show you how hard these guys have worked to get to where they are, because it doesn't just happen, obviously. They put in a ton of time. Alec, especially when you talk about the defense, how hard he has worked over the last year and a half. But you're right. Where would this team be without them? I think you could have Brandon Marsh in there as well, in terms of young guys that really have stepped up this season.
The only player on the team that has an OPS that's above 800 is Brandon Marsh.
Yeah, so you're talking about 3 young players that have really kind of stepped up and taken that next step in their development, in their career. And if it weren't for that, the Phillies would be in trouble right now. They have done just an outstanding job. I had Alec on the pregame show down in Miami, and we talked about a lot of different things. But I think my favorite answer of his is I asked him, I said, look, at the end of last year, we started to see your personality kind of shine through. And then I said, and then in the postseason, it just exploded on the scene. He got this big smile on his face because, baseball's tough. It's a grind. It's 162. These guys come to the ballpark early every day. They leave late. They work hard. And when Alec and the others, they're not always able to kind of just, let their hair down and have some fun. Literally, yeah. But we talked about the postseason. He said, at that point, it felt like the hard work was done, and we were able to, he said we were playing well. As a team, we had, really gelled together, and we were just having fun. And I think that was really obvious. But I think that postseason experience for these young guys allowed them to come back. And I think Bryson said it to me a couple of weeks ago. You come back and everything just seems to be not as big the second time around, because you've experienced this level of pressure in postseason play, and now you're coming into a regular season game in June, and it's like, all right, I got this. And I think that's what we're seeing right now, and it's been great. Think about the Phillies and their top picks over the last couple of years. The way great teams stay great is through the draft and through the international draft and getting these young guys. It's not through free agency, and the Phillies will always be players with the big time, guys in free agency. But if you can't bring in young players and develop young players, you're going to struggle. And you think about Alec Bohm, Bryson Stott, and then you look, Andrew Painter, Nick Abel, Griffin McGarry, just moved up to AAA this week. Justin Crawford, who's great
Getting grand slam last night in the ninth inning, and then the kid that just drafted.
Has he gotten out yet?
My God.
And that's the thing. And it's like, wow, we have, and when these guys get drafted, you don't know a whole lot about them. You don't know when they'll be here. But then all you have to do is look at Alcohol and Bryson Stott and say, man, in 2 or 3 years, some of these other guys are going to be here. And if they have the kind of impact that Bryson and Alec have had, this team is going to continue to be really good.
It's sustained.
Yeah. And that's why player development and Preston Mattingly and his group, Brian Barber and the group that does the draft for the Phillies, that's why they're so important. We don't talk about them enough. But the job they've done over the last couple of years has just been remarkable. And we're seeing that with these young guys.
Slash has broke the news. Brandon Marsh to the IL. And expect them back in 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Was it just an contusion or was there anything?
I think it was Terry Hatcher that broke it, so I can look that up real quick. I think it was just
He's swing.
Yeah, Ron Thompson just spoke to the media at 11:30, so that's where it's coming from. Okay.
Just says MRI and X-rays, there's no structure.
Okay, well that's the important thing. So it's just a pain tolerance at that point.
Do we have a move that they made? Is there anybody that's coming up and taking his place in the roster?
I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. All right, so we got the update that I was looking for on Brandon Marsh today. Real quick, before we dive into other things, any new news on Jose Alvarado? I know I ask every single week, but I mean, that back end of the bullpen is going to be so formidable once they get him back and involved.
Yeah, so the latest on Jose threw a bullpen on Friday. I said on Saturday he felt great. He's going to throw against live hitters tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, right? Yeah, tomorrow's Monday. So tomorrow. Whether
we do our show on Sundays.
Yes, I should know that. Whether he's throwing here in Philly or at a minor league park, they weren't sure. But he is going to face live hitters tomorrow. And, if he's following the same progression as Sir Anthony Dominguez did, which I would imagine he is, probably live hitters twice, then off to a rehab start. So awesome. He's getting closer, right? I'm probably the third week of August, maybe, as long as everything goes well, we'll see how it's like that.
And while we were talking about the Phillies front hands, coming up here and making contributions, and guys are looking at down the line in the future, they're going to come up and be Philadelphia Phillies. Let's look at one from the past. Big news: the last member of the 2008 Philadelphia Phillies, the World Series champions, Cole Hamels, decided to retire the other day. And the 2008 NLCS and World Series MVP finishes with 163 wins, 122 losses, a 3.43 ERA, 17 complete games, 7 shutouts, 2,698 innings, 2,560 strikeouts in 15 years, parts of 10 being in South Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Phillies. Some of your favorite moments in Cole's career, we pretty much covered all of it. Things that stand out to you.
For me, it's easy. One of my favorite moments of my time with the Phillies was at Wrigley when he threw the no-hitter.
We were right there.
Yeah, and you knew the storyline more than likely going to be his last game. I did the post-game interview with him down on the field, and it was really one of the best interviews that I ever did with Cole.
It was so hot that day.
It was
so hot.
We both got doused with the Gatorade that day.
Did it feel good?
It's a little sticky. Water feels good sometimes. But that's my favorite memory of Cole Hamels. For me, personally, obviously, the way he pitched in 08 and, the National League Championship Series MVP, the World Series MVP, he was such a huge part of why the Phillies finally got that World Championship after 28 years of waiting. So I have very fond memories of Cole. He's a nice guy, was always very pleasant and always accommodating for us as well. So, I had a feeling he was going to retire when I read that he was at Uncle Bill's Pancake House down in Stone Harbor or in Sea Island the other day or something. And I said, I guess that means he's not pitching anymore. But congratulations to him. Hard to believe that he's the last guy. 2008 just seems like yesterday to me. I don't know about you.
A lot has changed in the last 15 years for me.
Yeah, I guess. You're at that.
I was 22. I was a couple years younger than Cole.
The only thing that's changed for me is my pant size. That's probably about it. And my cholesterol, maybe. I don't know. It seems like a blink of an eye, and he's gone, and he's retired, and that team is now officially retired. But good for him. It's good to see, and I would imagine we'll see Cole Hamels back here at Citizens Bank very soon.
Yes.
I would think.
What a great guy, and a humanitarian on top of everything. Great ball player. And you always look back on that run, and he's one of the core members of that team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could say core four, with him, Utley, Rollins, Howard, but Chooch is in there too.
It's hard. It's really hard to
right?
limit
Yeah,
that team.
but I mean, Cole Hamels was so vital, and he was. If you look at that starting pitching staff in 2008, and sit there and you go, how the hell did they win the World Series with that group of guys? But they
Brad
did.
Lidge was pretty good.
Brad Lidge was really good that season, but you look back on that run, and it was so special for all of us. Those 5 years and the years that were before that as well, getting to that point, getting into the playoffs for the first time in 14 years, and just a special run for sure. But what was special was what happened in Major League Baseball last night. Fight night in Cleveland. It was phenomenal. The knockout punch heard around the world as Jose Ramirez knocked out Tim Anderson. And I don't even think Jose knew at the time that he knocked him out.
He just took a wild punch
his
that happened to land.
his head was down. And the best part about it though was how he's getting up, he slides in the second, he's getting up and to get in Tim Anderson's face. And the second base umpire is between the two of them. And it's just all right, tap gloves, and then he backs out.
Yeah.
But it was so awesome. And obviously it went viral, and some of the best things in the world like this that go viral on Twitter, it's just great. And you were talking about the broadcaster for the Indians.
I don't think it's as much of a story, as much of a fun thing to talk about, if not for Tom Hamilton, the Cleveland Indians play-by-play guy, because he switched from baseball to boxing in a heartbeat. And I mean, the guy's a Hall of Fame broadcaster, but the way he called the fight was epic. I mean, he channeled his inner Howard Cosell, and it was really cool to listen to. So they haven't listened to it. To me, that was the best part. The fight itself. I mean, you don't often see punches thrown and punches connected, and so that's kind of what made it different than the normal bench clearing kind of thing. But I think Hamilton's call was pretty awesome.
Zach, you gonna change your outro for baseball points?
Yeah, he is out of here. Now listen, this is a precursor for Can You Believe It in our final segment. But can you believe the fact that Elvis Andrus was involved in that altercation and the roughman Odor and Jose Bautista? He was on the field right next to both the best two on-field fights of maybe the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't see it very often. You see the anger, the teams coming together, pushing and shoving, but when they start to swing, it gets real quickly. So, yeah, it was. I don't know if I want to use the word fun, but it was entertaining. That's for sure.
No doubt about it, for sure. And then also, I teased it earlier, but ballpark number 21 active was crossed off the list. Got to spend Friday night, real quick, 24 hours in Minnesota. Beautiful city, a lot of fun. Target Field, very unique in its layout. The walls are so high, in particular, right field. The tile walls and the tile layout that they have, it's completely different than any other ballpark that I've been in. And sitting down third baseline behind the Diamondbacks dugout, what a good time! A lot of fun. It's definitely a top 10, and I think you had previously. When we did our top 10, but I mean for me, on the layout scale right now, because obviously I want to get to San Fran and San Diego and Seattle and those other ones. But man, just a lot of fun, great time. Just a beautiful, clean city, very quiet. Not a lot of people walking around.
No, not the downtown area. When it's not 9 to 5 kind of thing.
Yeah,
it is a beautiful city now. So I've experienced Minnesota 2 different ways. And Minnesota in the summer. Well, Minnesota, in the summer, going to Target Field, spending a couple of days there, with the Phillies. Beautiful ballpark, as you said. Really great city, walking around, very walkable, that kind of thing. I've also covered the Eagles in Minnesota in a couple of playoff games.
Yeah, yep.
I have never, ever been colder than I was in Minnesota. And all I had to do was walk from our car into the
it was the Metrodome.
Into the Metrodome. So it was about maybe I don't know, quarter-mile walk, right? Not terrible, but I had my suit on and dress shoes. And by the time I got to, I think it was something like 14 or 15 below, and there were people tailgating out, just tailgate. Oh, I'm Minnesota, and I am almost in tears trying to walk and get inside because my feet were frozen, and that was miserable. And then you walk inside, it's all nice.
You don't see a city like that has a lot of those like indoor walkways that connect the buildings.
They need them.
Yeah, it's insane. And then when we were in the Super Bowl 5 years ago, they were talking about like the Mall of America. Everything is like underground walkways because it's just so unbearably cold when you're outside.
Again, I've never been colder. It's the coldest I've ever been. And I was outside for 10 minutes. And I'll never forget. So, yes, Minnesota in the summer, sign me up. Minnesota in the winter, I'm done. Been there, done that, don't need to do it again.
Hey, guys, make sure you guys travel with us for the Green Legion this season. Okay?
Don't go to Minnesota.
No, I don't think we're going. No, we're not. No, we're not going to Minnesota this year. It's time to make your reservations for another amazing season. Head to greenlegion.com to get signed up for Tampa, LA, Kansas City, Dallas, and Seattle. Get signed up for the day trip games to the Jets, the Giants, and the Commodes. Make sure you check out the Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club bus for those day trips as well. And get signed up for next year, either the Baltimore Orioles trip or the weekend before in London. Sounds great to me. greenlegion.com or call 215-666-5940. That's 215-666-5940. 21 years and counting for the best Eagles road trips around. In our final segment, what's the best true life story movie that we can come up with? One of yours. We'll see what you guys come up with, as well as our picks for today's Major League Baseball action. 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler, Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club. We'll be right back after this.
No. I'm trying to think. I've been to Montreal, but that was in like October.
Weston Wilson's getting called.
Yeah, that
up.
wasn't bad. Yeah, I can
Weston
imagine
Wilson.
Quebec would be pretty cold in the winter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, my daughter lived in both Cleveland and Milwaukee, so I visited her in the winter both times, and it was pretty darn cold both those seasons. You get the lake effect coming off, but man, Minnesota, I'll never forget. It was awful. And it was, I forget if it was the NFC Championship game or if it was the second round. And I had just started at Sportsnet, and it was me and Gunner that they sent out there. And, so it was kind of an exciting time for me from a career standpoint. But I was so miserable for that. Yeah. I remember dreading having to walk to the car after, and I don't remember it being nearly as bad as the walk to. Again.
Weston Wilson's coming up.
Really?
You know anything about him?
Yeah. I mean, we saw him a lot in spring training. It's having a decent year down there. Yeah, I guess he's
He's going to be playing. He's going to be sharing time in like left field with Jake Cave, and then when Kyle Schwarber's DH.
Wow. I mean, I guess they don't have a whole lot of options.
Well,
His Pache's getting close.
yeah, that's a good thing. I had a lot of really good Can You Believe It's this week.
I don't know, maybe.
You want me to say something?
Yeah. Maybe one or two. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Something happened earlier this week. Bobby Wick Jr.
Oh, he's a beast.
First player in Major League Baseball history to have
20 home runs and 30 stolen bases first two seasons. So I sent you another one from the Orioles.
I'll use the Bobby Wick.
Yeah. The Orioles one's a good one. I have a funny one too. Yeah. I saw Baseball Post put this out the other day.
Really?
What's that?
This place is hopping.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful day down here.
Yes. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
We get our rings on Wednesday.
That's awesome. You wear it next Sunday down here? Why are you guys waiting so long?
15.
You know, just it's a lot. A couple hundred rounds. But they just gotta get paid.
Coming back. Sack, he's coming back for that clip.
That's fine.
On YouTube. I can text it. I'll screenshot it.
Yeah,
What a great call.
it's awesome.
Final segment here is Sunday morning. Philadelphia, South Philadelphia, outside of Citizens Bank Park. Xfinity Live. Make sure you guys come down here every home game on Sundays. We are here for at least the next month. So you guys can come on down and see people, the man of the people, right over there, Murph. See, they come to see you. No one walks by and says, "Hey, Sack."
Well, I will.
There's a first time for everything. I think the last time we were down here, I got a couple of compliments after the show.
There you go.
I was like, man, people actually noticed me for once. It's all good. It's all good. But you know what you need to notice? You need to notice down at Seattle City, especially for the next month through Labor Day weekend. You got to notice our friends at the Loveland Hotel in Seattle City at 4000 Landis Avenue in Seattle City. Yes, it's the old La Costa. Make sure you guys, while you're there, drink the La Costa lemonade. It is delicious. The hotel is open year-round, not just during the summertime. And all guests enjoy free Wi-Fi, one free parking spot per room, and complimentary beach tags for all registered adults. Walking distance to everything. Check out LovelandHotel.com. That's Loveland, www.LUBLAN.com, hotel.com. Or call them at 609-263-7829. That's 609-263-7829. All your reservation, dining, or entertainment questions, the Loveland Hotel, your new oasis in Seattle City. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's give away some tickets here for the September 8th game. It's a Friday night, 7:05. Got to be down there. Kids are back to school, but it's a Friday night, so you can have a little bit of fun with it. So, Murph, give me the rest of your top five.
All right, so these are movies based on a true story.
True story.
And you think I already told you that I already gave you Lincoln, because that was an awesome movie. I think everyone should see. A couple of lighter ones. I always knew the music of Queen, but I never really knew the story behind Freddie Mercury. And Bohemian Rhapsody, I thought did an outstanding job kind of telling his life story. That was fascinating. And the guy that played him, I'm not going to know his name. I'm not going to know his name. Okay, all right. So, but he was amazing playing Freddie Mercury.
Hey, man.
That guy over there, actor fella. But anyway, really good movie. So I'll put that one on the list. And in the same vein, Walk the Line, which is the Johnny Cash story. Again, knew Johnny's music, never knew a ton about his life. Another great performance by June and
that guy.
The other guy.
Yeah,
different guy.
the other guy.
No, that was River Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. There you go.
Johnny Cash. So I'll put that on the list. All right, Schindler's List. You know, talking about an important movie, and if you haven't seen it, it's worth watching just for historical reasons and purposes. But an amazing job that they did with that movie as well, telling that incredible story. And then this one's a little off the beaten path, but Hidden Figures. I don't know if you remember that movie. It came out maybe 5 years ago, and it was the story of 3 African American women who worked for NASA and were instrumental in the space program. But their story was never told until now. And after watching that movie, I remember remarking that every school in America should show this movie to their students, because it touched all the bases, and it was such an important time in our country's history, and finally getting to hear the story of the people that you don't hear about.
Right.
It was
behind the scenes.
Yeah, but they were instrumental in making it all happen. Brilliant mathematician minds, these women. And, for them at that time, obviously a struggle. Female African American in the world of NASA and space, how hard they had to fight just to get in the room. And fascinating story. So, interesting.
I'll add that one to the list.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, so speaking of a list, we have Miracle, American Gangster. Titanic was already kind of said at the beginning, and you're not voting for it anyway. 42.
Yeah.
And Rudy. John Q. The Blind Side. The Pursuit of Happiness. We Are Marshall. Rookie.
Okay. Sports movies.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. We're doing a sport.
No one said Remember the Titans. It would have had my vote.
Yeah, Remember the Titans would have been a good one too. Wow.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. I guess I read over. Remember the Titans. Did I say it?
You did say it. Yeah.
Actually, no. I skipped over somebody else that was on here because we already talked about it again.
Okay. Give me the first two or three again.
First two or three: Miracle, American Gangster, and 42.
From that list,
You don't look like a big Rudy.
no, I like the movie Rudy, but I'm not voting for that. There's so many more important movies like 42 that are going to get. Like I'm going 42.
I'm going to go Remember the Titans.
Okay.
All right. So I
Can't argue that.
Slash tiebreaker. Since we don't have Kevin Stockbridge.
Only because Denzel was my favorite.
Yes. Look, that's a great movie.
It really is. Yeah, you can't go wrong either way.
You ever see the movie Lean on Me, by the way?
No.
That's another one. Put that on your list. Lean on Me. Not a sports movie. But that would have been a good one.
Sounds great.
All right.
So congratulations, David Loeb, for winning the tickets. I will get them over to you. He's winning tickets. Congratulations, David. All right. So Murph, picks for this week. All right. Favorite underdog, over under. We both went 1 and 2 last week. All right. So you had the Marlins over the Tigers, and I hit my over under for the Yankees Orioles. I think I had it by the third inning too.
Yeah.
Because Luis Severino sucks.
So early on, we both thought we were going to 3, but then we both rallied for the one game.
There's nothing that's better on a Sunday than getting a text message from Murph that's in a panic over his picks.
No, not in a panic.
I don't ever get anything good when you're
just-
doing good. I don't hear anything from you.
Yeah, no.
But you're not doing good this season. You're 22 and 23 with 28.5 points. I'm 26 and 19 with 32 points.
I'm going to beat you, and that's the way it's going to work.
Okay,
So
why don't
I
you
look concerned?
lead off for me, partner?
All
Give me one of your picks.
All right, here. I'll give you my favorite first. Cleveland, the Guardians, are minus 145 over those slugging White Sox. And I think Cleveland's just a better team. This is going to go kind of a low line for me, 145. I don't know if that is or not. But anyway, I think Cleveland kind of rolls in this game, beats the White Sox. Pitching matchup kind of like, So give me Cleveland as the favorite.
I'm surprised you didn't do this because I had to do it. In fact, the Orioles are minus 192, and they're playing the Mets in Baltimore with a chance to sweep.
I saw that.
Kyle Bradish versus Jose Quintana. I'm taking the Orioles for the sweep. That's my favorite this week.
Okay, but you watch. That's the game that's going to come back to bite you, right? We'll see.
I might lose real money on that game.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right, my underdog. Again, weird line, and these bite me all the time, so I'm probably doing the wrong thing
You got
again.
it a couple weeks ago. You got good dog.
All right, Astros are underdogs to the Yankees today. The Yankees have won 2 of 3 in this 4-game series they're playing, and so winning 3 of 4.
Actually beat Verlander yesterday
Yeah,
too.
so winning 3 of 4 over Houston, I think is a lot to ask for the Yankees. I know they're playing a little bit better, but the Astros are plus 106. So I'm taking them as my underdog.
Okay. And so I'm going to stick with the American League West on my end. I just find it hard to believe. It's probably one of those. The Cubs actually bit me last week because of that against the Cardinals, and I was like, oh, they're so hot. Why are they an underdog? I'm going back to the well again this week. Mariners plus 110 at the Angels. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. The Angels have lost 5 in a row. Haven't won since the trade deadline, and they're out falling out of the wild card. 6 games back. Since they didn't dump Otani. I'm taking the Mariners plus 110 today. I'm just going to take a swing on that. Sure. I hope for under for you.
All right, Diamondbacks and Twins. Over under is 8.5. I'm going with the under, which I almost never do.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I'm going under.
Under
Zach-
8.5?
Yeah, Zach Gallen's on the hill for Diamondbacks, and Dallas Keuchel It's on
I
right.
didn't even know he was with the Twins.
So here's what I think. Well, he just got.
Yeah, he's got no stats, but I didn't even know he signed them.
Yeah, so I think Zach Gallen shuts them down, and Keuchel gives up 8, and I get the under. That's how I think it's going to play out. So I'll take it under 8.
Diamondbacks have lost the first 2 games of that series. They got smoked last night with Joe Mauer going to the Twins Hall of Fame. Yeah, the Diamondbacks are due. Gallen gets them off the snap.
Yeah, I think so.
Under 8.5. I'm going under 8.5 as well. I'm going Braves Cubs. So Charlie Morton and Justin Steele. So it was a good pitching matchup there. They went over. They had 14 runs. And the Braves, it was funny because Chad, when we were in Minnesota, he's like, I really like the over 8.5 in this game. And they wound up, Braves put up 8 runs through 5. They won 8-0. So they hit the under by a half a run the other night. Can you believe it? Jansen sleeping over there? I guess.
I knew that was going to happen.
Can you believe it? 2 things we found interesting from this past week in Major League Baseball. Murph, give me your first one, buddy.
All right, well, the first one happened right here in Philadelphia. And the guy is still here, Bobby Witt Jr., really good young catcher for Kansas City.
He's been hot over the last week, too.
He has, and I guess it was game 1, right? Friday night, he hit the home run. It was his 20th home run of the season. He already had 30 stolen bases, 30 plus stolen bases. He becomes the first player in Major League Baseball history to have 20 home runs and 30 or more steals, 20 or more home runs, 30 more steals in his first 2 seasons. First time it's ever happened.
Yeah, good ball player, too. I'm going to stick with another pretty good ball player in that same vein. Corbin Carroll reached 25 home runs and 35 stolen bases in his first 134 career games, the second fewest needed by any player to debut since 1900. The other guy, Mike Trout, pretty good. He needed 128 games.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, and then this one's coming from Sarah Lang's. Highest batting average in a 4+ game series since 1900. You needed to have at least 15 plate appearances. Back in 2020, Adalberto Mondesi had an 857 versus Detroit in a 4-game series. But Ryan Mountcastle at Toronto this week, 846 versus the Blue Jays.
Great game.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. And then a couple others. You'll remember back in 1927, Joe Harris did it.
I'm right there.
Yeah, he batted 800. And Shoeless Joe Jansen.
Yeah, that's definitely a good
1916 at Detroit, he batted 800. 846. Have yourself a week.
See, I never could say that I root for somebody to lose a no-hitter until the other day. Because I can't stand Framber Valdez. I still, to this day, think he cheated in the World Series. I mean, every time he went to his hair, I will root against this guy for the rest of his career. But he did throw the third no-hitter of the season the other night. So he only used 93 pitches. Third fewest in a no-hitter since pitch counts became the start to be tracked in 1988, behind only the late Darryl Kyle, who did it on September 8, 1993, threw 83 pitches. And then David Cone, his perfect game, threw 88 pitches in July 18th.
That was a pretty good day.
Yeah, right? Now, the best perfect game out of all of them was David Wells, who did it hungover.
Yeah. Can we do some of our best work?
All right, so take a look at the week ahead for our Philadelphia Phillies. We have today's rubber match, which I feel like the last 5 weeks has been rubber match after rubber match with us, which is just pretty much the microcosm of our first 2.5, 3/4 season together. So we have that going for us today. 4 against the Nationals. Continue this 10-game homestand in the Minnesota Twins. Lead the American League Central. They come into town next week. A lot of wins here on the table. The Phillies got to start taking advantage of it. And can we actually start treating these teams, these bottom feeders, can we actually just start treating them like punching bags for once instead of playing these 1-2-run games? It's not fun for me.
It's not the way it works. You know, these are Major League ball clubs, and we got Major League players on the other side.
But the Braves do it. Why can't we?
We had this conversation earlier. The Braves this year are different.
I'm just
They are they're a step above.
I don't need to be in Heart Attack Hotel for the next 2 months, 3 months.
Just just win. But you're right. The great Larry Anderson always says, win the series. You don't have to win all three. Just win 2 of the 3. Especially against a team like the Kansas City Royals, who are not one of baseball's best teams. So go out there and win today. Again, we do say it every Sunday. They got to win it. They didn't last week in Pittsburgh, and that really hurt. I think they learned their lesson a little bit. A little bit of a wake-up call. I heard a couple of guys say that. So win today, take this series from the Royals, and then look ahead to the Washington Nationals, who you've had really good success over the last couple of years. So, playing here at home has been an advantage for the Phillies. For 9 games over 500 at home, or 8 games.
It's 9 or 10, yeah.
It's right around there. They got to keep that going. They play well.
Real quick, Weston Wilson. He's coming up, taking place for Brandon Marsh. Yeah. What can you say? I know I remember because he got a lot of playing time in spring training while the guys went to WBC.
Yeah, he did.
What kind of season is he having?
I haven't checked his numbers in a couple of weeks, but I remember,
you will today before the pregame.
I will indeed. 2 or 3 weeks ago, doing the minor league report, he popped up as one of the guys that was just really swinging that well. And I'm pretty sure, I know he's a good defender out there in the outfield. He's kind of a big, wiry guy. And, he'll get an opportunity. It's an interesting call-up. I think Christian Pache, is getting close, and we're going to see him come back pretty soon as well. But in the meantime, Weston Wilson's going to get his opportunity. I love watching these young guys come up. We saw Johan Rojas do it 2 weeks ago.
I'm excited. We're going to see more of them the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and he hasn't missed a beat. The moment doesn't seem too big for him. I hope it's the same for Weston Wilson.
Sounds great, Murph. Appreciate you as always, partner. And sitting alongside us today, our producer, Kyle / the Gobbler, the Magic Man, Nunamaker, and back on the board in studio is the hardest working man in show business, John Jansen. I'm Chris Sacker, Green Legion Radio, like a 3-1 pitch to Ryan Howard. We are out of here. Phillies, handle your business. Let's score some runs today. Let's make this nice and easy and stay away from Heart Attack Hotel for once. Another Quimby read. Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Carl.
Later.
Hey. All right.
All right.
Yeah.